All right, ladies and gentlemen, a couple things I want to give you a heads up to. First of all, you obviously have a test tomorrow, 25 questions, all multiple choice. Your focus, your map, and your primary are due by 8:30 tomorrow morning, so please make sure you have those in. Also, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow before your test, I will have correlated all of my data on who has officially enrolled for the AP exam and who has not. It has been over 2 weeks at this point. So if you are on the not list, how well do you think I'm going to receive you? How much pain, how much charm and charisma do you think I'll have for you? Not much, because if your name's on my list, my name's on someone else's list. And guess what? I don't like my name on lists. So, if you haven't done your AP testing sign up, it's on the module. Open it up, finish it. If you haven't done it, it needs to be done by tomorrow, because if I find out it's still not done, I'm coming for blood tomorrow. Is everyone clear on that? Because I don't want my name on a list. So, most of you did it in like 2 seconds. I don't know what the other problem is, but everything needs to be done by tomorrow. I will be checking before we take our test. You do not want me cranky. I think we can agree on that, yes? Perfect. All right. So, everyone is explicitly clear that your AP signups need to be done by tomorrow, yeah? Perfect. Okay. Who can raise their hand and tell me where we left off in our notes? Where'd we leave off? Taylor?
Japanese changed culture and westernized.
Okay, perfect. So we got to the end of Japanese industrialization. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of boards, and then I'm going to go straight to Japanese industrialization. So for you guys, it's going to look a little clunky because I'm recording in 2 videos. Does that make sense? Hello? So you are my second video. So you'll definitely want to go back and check out my first. But I'm going to try hauling through what you guys need and kind of start that. Is that okay with you? Perfect. Here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what country is the first country to industrialize in the whole wide world? Good. Catherine? England. On your whiteboard, what country is going to industrialize quickly, then stops because of political chaos? Good. What do we got, Gadeki? France. On your whiteboard, what country is going to industrialize super quick because they have tons and tons of natural resources and tons of people? Good. What do we got, Friar?
United States.
United States. What 2 countries are going to be state-sponsored industrialization? What 2 countries are state-sponsored industrialization? No. Good. Virginia?
Russia and Japan.
Russia and Japan. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what country uses the WIT system? Good. Cassidy? Russia. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what country is responsible for forcing the Japanese to industrialize? Oh, see what I did there. See what I did there. James. U.S. On your whiteboard, what's the name of the dude who does it? Good. Henry.
Matthew Perry.
Nice to see you, dude. We missed you yesterday. All right. Matthew Perry. Perfect. So, that's a brief summary of industrialization as it spreads. In every country, it is unique and it is different. So, we are going to head to government role in industrialization. So the first place we're going to go is Ottoman Empire, ladies and gentlemen. Ottoman Empire is where we're picking up. We'll meet up with the Japanese here in a second. Okay. Couple things you need to know. The Ottoman are called the old man of Europe. You need to know that expression. It's used quite frequently by AP. Why are they called the old man of Europe? You can raise your hand. James.
They've been around so long.
Yeah, they've been around since 1453 when they sacked Constantinople and turned it to Istanbul. And we're in the 1800s at this point. So they are taking over a huge chunk of Europe and, of course, the Middle East. So they're called the old man. You need to know that they reject Enlightenment thinking and Industrialization. So how's that going to go for them? Not so well. Okay, so the Ottoman Empire. Internally, they're dealing with two things. You need to know this. So they're going to reject industrialization and enlightenment. They are struggling internally with corruption. Who can raise your hand and tell me what corruption is? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Hayden?
It's like when the government is kind of, or like people in power are more focused on like money and stuff and power as opposed to like action.
Yeah, people are taking bribes. You want something done? Pay me. Okay. So they get paid and they keep this whole system going instead of doing what's best for the nation. Okay, corruption, and then of course, what's the second one? Oh, nationalism. Sorry. So they have a ton of corruption. They have a nationalism problem. Like for instance, a perfect example of their nationalistic problem is that they control the Greeks. Nationalism is when a country wants to be controlled by its own people. So the Greeks are currently controlled by the Ottomans, but the Greeks want to be controlled by Greeks. So all of a sudden, internally of the Ottoman Empire, you're starting to see major fractions. Okay, and the Greeks want to be controlled by the Greeks, but the Greeks are being blended with the Serbians, and the Serbians want to be controlled by the Serbians. This whole idea of nationalism is really going to come to a head in World War I. Okay, so Ottomans are struggling with corruption and they're struggling with nationalism. Okay, now in Egypt, you need to make note of that. In Egypt, parentheses, which is under Ottoman control, Muhammad Ali comes to power, not the boxer. Comes to power. He breaks away from the Ottomans and starts doing new things. So he is the first of the Ottoman. He's not a ruler, but he's essentially like a governor. Of the British system, he'd be like the governor. So he's like the local ruler. Okay? He breaks with the Ottoman tradition of doing things the exact same way they've been doing since the 1400s, and he decides to improve or modernize or westernize the military. Okay? He creates the first newspaper in the Ottoman Empire. They refused newspapers before. And he is going to take state control over cotton, which will clear up some, and builds a couple of factories. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is important for you to understand cotton, okay? Who is the largest producer of cotton pre-1861? 1860. What major event happened in 1861 to 1865? The American Civil War. So who is the largest producer of cotton pre-1861? The United States was the largest producer of cotton. Then we got into the American Revolution. American Civil War. How much cotton production was being done then? Not much. Some was, actually, because the South depended on it to make money in order to keep their war effort going. Okay, so not much cotton production. And how much cotton production was happening immediately after the war? Not much, because, we disbanded slavery, so the whole labor system that provided the cotton is now completely dismantled. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, America was number one for a very long time. Once the Civil War hits, America falls to like 4th or 5th in the world. All of a sudden now, the British need someone else. So, cotton, and you should write this down, is now post-American Civil War. The largest producers will be Egypt and India. Okay? Post-American Civil War. Guess what are the two largest producers of cotton to this day? Egypt and India. That's why they're there. America is no longer, I don't even think we're in the top 5 anymore. We might be, but we're not. We have moved on from cotton. Okay, so this will be be the largest cash crop in Egypt. Now, when we're talking about their military, okay, this is fresh after the American Civil War, so guess who's going to help modernize their military? Yeah, America does. We send our loser southern generals to Egypt, and they go train up their military. We also send the losing generals to Japan as well. Isn't that funny to think? What?
No, should we write that down?
It's going to come back to get us here in a little bit. So you should be familiar with it. I'm telling it because it's that story of them being trained up is going to come back and haunt them. Because Egypt is going to be one of the first places that overthrow their imperialistic powers. And why? Because they were trained by the Americans. And they're going to overtake the Suez Canal. And poor Elizabeth, she was only queen for like 5 days at that point. Alright, so Muhammad Ali, you need to know. Put a star. These are the big things you need to know. He is the first attempt by the Ottomans to modernize. He will be successful. The Ottomans will not. Okay? And he is considered the first modern ruler of Egypt. We have a couple big Egyptian rulers coming up in history. All right. So, let's jump to Japan. Here we go. So your next heading is Japan. Okay. Couple things, just a friendly reminder. There's a bunch of Japan on your test tomorrow, by the way. You should already feel pretty good about Japan. So we spent a good amount of time on Friday talking about them, so I'm going to go pretty quick through this, but there's a good amount of questions about Japan. Here we go. You need to know the doors of Japan closed originally in 1600, and they will open again in 1853. So originally they closed in 1600, and then they reopened in 1853. And of course, what American hero is going to do it? Commodore Matthew Perry. Is he really an American hero? No. But it's still kind of fun. Here we are. Okay. So, Matthew Perry is going to force the Mage Restoration. We're going to get more details into that in a second. You can tell me what the Mage Restoration is. It's in your vocab, and I've already taught it to you. What do you got? Hunter, what's the Mage Restoration?
When they overthrew the shogun, it gave more power to the emperor.
Why? You're completely right. It's a brilliant answer, but why?
So they could adopt more inventions from the West.
Sort of, okay? Because if the shoguns are like small, it's a decentralized government, right? By having a centralized ruler like the emperor back in full power, they can make changes very, very quickly. Can we agree? Okay? Now, if Mr. Bush wanted to change something here at Plant and he said all teachers have to do this, would that make quick changes or slow changes? Quick changes. If every teacher was asked individually to make changes, how would you think it'd be fast or slow? Slow, absolutely. So, when we're talking about this, a decentralized government is slow, a centralized government is faster. That's what the Mage Restoration is about. You maybe should make a note of that. It creates a more centralized government. Okay. So. Okay. Now, a couple of major reasons that I did not go over when we started talking about this on Friday. The reason why Japan is attractive to the Americans is because America needs a refueling station. A refueling station for coal. That's what you need to know. Okay? Is it because we have a high demand for Japanese goods? No. We don't really know what Japan has. Why?
Their doors are closed.
Their doors are closed. We don't really know what they have, but we do know geographically it's very close to getting to China, and it's about the perfect distance from our last port. So we need it for a refueling station. That's the reason why we have it. Okay? Now, after the industrialization, after Commodore Matthew Perry comes in, you do need to know they are going to embrace some Western culture in order to protect their Eastern culture. The term of phrase is important. Okay, they are going to embrace some Western culture in order to protect their Eastern culture. That is their major priority. They don't want to be like China, who gets carved up by the Europeans. They want to have their own autonomy. So they team up with Team America and industrialize very quickly. How successful are they? They are super successful. They're probably the 4th or 5th most powerful nation in the world before the 1930s, which is pretty impressive. They are the only Asian industrialized country pre-1950s. Okay, so that's a big deal. Okay, Mage Restoration changes. So the Mage Restoration happens. The emperor is now in power. These are the major things he focuses on. Okay, so there's no more feudalism. There is no more shoguns. There's no more daimyos. There's no more samurai. None of it. It is all forbidden. Can you imagine, like, they're, like, in a job, and then they're, like, in power, and, like, everything is great, and then within a year, they are shunned from society. It's a huge change. Anyway. They're going to create a constitutional monarchy. Okay. They're also going to reorganize their army and navy and modernize it. The United States is going to sell them steamships. Excuse me.
Wait, the army and the navy were reorganized in what?
They're going to reorganize their army and navy, and they're going to buy American steamships. Okay, so they are going to grow very, very quickly. They are also going to build lots of railroads and roads, and they love the idea of imperialism. Dun, dun, dun! That's next week's content, though. I know, I can't believe it. This content moves so fast. We're gonna like hit the brakes though when we hit 1900 though. Whew. You're gonna have to know everybody's name, what their favorite food is, what their favorite glass of wine is. Damn, people. Because it goes real slow starting at 1900. All right. Okay. So you do need to know that Japan's economy is going to boom immediately. Okay. So Japan's economy is going to boom immediately. So are they going to receive lots of positive feedback from their industrialization? Yes. Are they going to become incredibly powerful? Of course they do. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. That's what you need to know for the Japanese. All right. Places who oppose industrialization. That's your next heading. Places that oppose industrialization. Of course, you already know one. Who is that? Ottomans. The Ottomans are going to oppose it. They oppose it because they think it's a fad. They think it's another Western thing that'll go away. Now keep in mind, when the Ottomans rose into power, nothing had been happening in the West for eons. Now all of a sudden the West is rising in power and they're not adjusting quick enough. Okay, so the Ottomans. Okay, Qing China is going to reject it as well. Excuse me. Qing China is going to reject industrialization because they believe they are protected by traditional trading practices and the distance they are from Europe. Are they wrong? Oh, yeah. Because why buy something when you can steal it? Okay. Now, government supported is your next subheading. Okay, places that reject it, you need to know it's Qing China, and then you need to know it is the Ottomans. Places that were government sponsored. Of course, you need to know it's Russia, but Russia is too agricultural and too spread out, okay, to fully industrialize. It is too agricultural and it is too spread out to industrialize without 100% commitment from, what's the name of the ruling family? The Romanovs. The Romanovs are like, oh my god, we should industrialize, and then they're like, oh my god, let's go, like, start a war with the Ottomans. And they're like, ah, shit, damn it, let's go kill a bear. Okay. However, Japan, you need to know, they are going to create a hybrid of government support and private industry. Government support, private industry, and foreign investment. The Japanese have a three-pronged system. Government support, private industry, foreign investment. You alright over there?
Yeah, so my hands are the camera. I have to shake it out, and my tongue is still in my hand.
I'm just so glad you're okay. Alright. So, ladies and gentlemen, you do need to know the foreign investment is going to come from two major countries. Which one do you think is the largest? United States, of course. Who's the second? England. Yeah, it's England. So you should know U.S. is number one in support of in support of Japan, and then Britain is number two. Okay, you do need to know that the wealthy are going to be called zaibatsus of business. Okay, Japan is going to move businessmen into the elite status. They do it on purpose. Why? Hello, why would they do that? Why is this thing that doesn't really exist and they put it in the top tier of society all of a sudden be? Why, Henry?
Because it encourages like working.
Yeah, of course. If everyone starts seeing these businessmen walking around in these fabulous suits and everyone's like, oh my god, who's he? And everyone's like, he's a businessman. And you're just like, oh my god, he's a businessman. And then you're like, oh my god, how do you become a businessman? And they're like, all you have to do is start a business. And then you're like, oh my god, all I gotta do is start a business. And it promotes this whole idea. It's like a real thing. Ladies and gentlemen, no one wanted to be a stockbroker until the 1980s. Why? Because stockbrokers all of a sudden were starting to make crazy amounts of money. They're dressing in fabulous clothes, and they're driving the best cars in the world. Having them look and spend money like crazy made everyone want to be a... Yes, which is why we have The Wolf of Wall Street and so many other classic films about it. So, with that being said, they're trying to do the same thing in Japan. Does that make sense? They want to rise, they want to create this rise of the business class and make it a high priority. Now, what you're going to see is you do need to know Toyota, which will eventually be Toyota, is what starts. It's now known as... Yeah, it's the same company. Okay? So, they are going to start with the automatic loom and eventually evolve into your car company. Anyone here's family owns a Toyota? Anyone here? There you go. All right. My first stick shift car was a Toyota Corolla. There you go. Okay, so as we're going to see, these major companies are going to be coming out of Japan, and there's the Zaibatsus, which are going to be family-based companies that are going to hit the higher echelon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what is the difference between a company like Amazon and a Zaibatsu? What's the difference?
Amazon's more.
What? I can't hear you when you fade off into silence.
Never mind.
What's the difference between a Zaibatsu and an Amazon? What do you got?
Does Amazon have like a lot of like workers and Zaibatsus are like kind
No.
of smaller?
Barker?
People can invest in Amazon.
They can invest in Zaibatsu. That's what we're talking about, foreign investment and all that stuff. What do you got?
So that's doing like family run,
Yeah, what does that mean?
like their family businesses and like.
Like, what does that
Amazon,
mean?
It's like inherited through the family.
Like, what does that mean? Chris? No, it's not, doesn't always mean it's privately owned though, because you can have you can be in the stock market, which would make it publicly owned. Okay, guys, Zaibatsu means the CEO of a company goes from father to There you go. And Jeff Bezos, Amazon, it goes from Jeff Bezos to
The highest buyer.
whoever he picks. There is a new guy, isn't there a new guy? I think Jeff Bezos has stepped down so he can fly to space more often, right? Isn't that his thing? Okay, so I know, solve the damn problems we have here. That's my own personal opinion, but Elon Musk called them out yesterday for saying that about him, and damn. Are you not following world politics?
He called him out.
So the UN came out yesterday. The head speaker of the UN said if the world's billionaires stopped went into space and gave the UN $6 billion, they could solve world hunger. And they added on Twitter, which is Elon Musk's domain, he loves it, and they added at him, and he responded, if you could lay it out and tell me exactly where the money's going, I'll cash out Tesla stock right now. The problem is they don't really have a definitive plan of how they would spend that $6 billion in order to end. And that's the problem. So, however, the fact that conversation's happening is a good thing. Can we agree? So that's pretty cool. Anyway. All right. Resistance. Okay, resistance in Japan, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you do need to know that not every society, resistance within societies. Yeah, that should be your heading. Resistance within industrialized countries. I think that's clearer. Resistance in industrialized countries. You do need to know that just because a country has industrialized, not everyone likes it. I think we've all figured out at this point in 2021 that just because the government does something doesn't mean everyone in the country likes it, yes? You do know we went to war, for the American Civil War, for instance, and we decided to go to war by 3 votes. It wasn't a unanimous decision. Only a couple wars do we have a unanimous decision, like World War II, that was a unanimous decision after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and stuff like that. Most of the time it's a pretty fractured decision. Same type of thing is happening here. Just because it happened doesn't mean it worked out well. So, Japan, ladies and gentlemen, the samurai are going to fight back. Okay? And this is The Last Samurai, the terrible movie with Tom Cruise I was telling you about. This is what it talks about. Okay, so the samurai are going to fight back against Chinese industrialization. Remember, samurai were the high standard of Japanese culture, and now they've been completely obliterated. So much so they had to cut their hair. Yeah, dude, the hair's a big thing. And they couldn't wear their swords anymore. And you weren't allowed to dress in your traditional way. So it's a pretty abrupt change that we're going to see. So, we're going to see that some people, including the Japanese, wanted the government to stay decentralized, and they thought the emperor had too much power and too much external influence. Now keep in mind, the external influence is the big part here. Because why is Japan industrializing, Micah? What's their big reason?
Us.
Well, yes, but what is their motivation? James? To not turn out like China, they want to protect themselves. Well, then the Japanese government on their own is changing the way people dress, change the way people talk. All of a sudden they're teaching English in schools, okay? All these things, if you're a citizen, are you concerned? Saying holy shit, we're turning exactly into China, and that's where these rebellions in China are coming from. People are not pleased about it. However, you'll see they kind of go away. Now, Ottoman Empire, you're going to see that there are some who try to industrialize, but nervous leaders won't follow through. It's a huge financial investment to industrialize. You have to have faith. For instance, I've had a couple ideas for good businesses, and I'm too chicken shit to do it. To gamble on myself, I just can't. I just don't have that kind of confidence. You know what I mean? One of my girlfriends runs a super successful Etsy shop, and she comes up with these insanely cool ideas, and she made over $500,000 in profits last year. Insane from a little Etsy shop. Okay, her little side hustle made $500,000 last year. Damn! But do you know how much money she's had to invest in herself? That takes confidence. Imagine doing that on a bigger scale. for your whole country. You can either protect the wealth you have, or you can gamble half of it on industrializing, and sometimes it's not going to work out. So that's pretty crazy. So, the Ottoman Empire, half of them, some of them are going to try, but they're too nervous to fully commit. China is going to attempt to industrialize, but it will be squashed by European powers. Okay, so they are going to struggle to industrialize, and of course we know. Okay, guys, yes, those are samurais. Would you want to mess with that guy? Look at the hair, dude. Nice and like properly disheveled. No, we're not impressed. Got it. Cool. Let's keep this serious here. Alrighty. Industrial technology. How about we do some boards? Let's liven the place up, shall we? Why are people so sad? Guys, we have a full week this week, and then it's a 3-day week for Miss Bennett next week. Because I'm not coming back, because we have Thursday off next week, and I am not going back on Friday.
So what are we gonna do Friday?
Friday, you're gonna be working on your focus or your map without me. Okay, so next week, Friday, Miss Bennett is not here. She's gonna be living her best life in Boston, eating all the clam strips she can possibly eat, and clam chowder because it's my absolute favorite thing in the whole world.
Is that your first flight?
Huh? Huh?
Is that your first flight?
No, we went to Philadelphia this summer to meet my bestie. She got to meet Hank, so this will be my second flight with Hank.
Good luck.
He's gonna go meet all the fam. If we even leave, cause like flights are chaos, but you people don't follow news, so you probably have no idea. Anyway, so next week is a 3-day week, and then we have a whole week, and then a whole week off. So full week this week, 3-day week next week, full week off.
Technically, it's 4-day week for us.
No, I know, but I said for me because I care about me. I don't care about you. And I'll tell you, Friday, literally no teachers are going to be here.
What?
Can I get that like on video so I can tell my
Yeah.
Yeah, like no one is here on Friday.
Wait, really?
That follow, not this Friday, next Friday. But yeah, I mean, who, Ryan?
Yeah, Mr. Red's definitely.
I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him.
He goes, I'm having lessons that day, so just be
But he
ready.
posts all the notes on Canvas.
Yeah, so I'm not missing anything, but he's like, I'm having class.
He does. He does.
Yeah, you got to run experience in making all those weird noises.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Just the way he teaches.
Oh yeah, he is eccentric to the T. Here we go. On your whiteboard. So all we have to do is survive this week and a 3-day week next week, and then a full week, and then a week off. Woo! I know, I need it so bad.
You need it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a kid with an ear infection and you're going to the doctor's 3 days this week?
Are you taking 2 AP classes, girl?
No, I teach one. Do you know how much work this shit is? Do you think this stuff just shows up?
Well, at least you already know it.
No, actually, you're running, like, we're coming to the end of my content knowledge here. I'm gonna have to start learning shit again. Yeah, because, like, some of this stuff is way more in depth than I'm prepared for, so I gotta learn before you.
If we're in the 1900s, what are we going to be doing for the rest of the year?
We're not in the 18th. We're in the beginning of the 18th. We're like the mid 1800s.
Yeah, but like.
I have time to figure it out, and I'm not a moron, my God.
I am one.
Well,
You literally write your name and you're like,
I will know the content well before I get to you. No, it's like the specific names of things that I've never needed to learn before. Does that make sense? I mean, I obviously know the big stuff. I happen to know there's 2 major wars.
Because the graders get more halfway through. They're like, where?
wait,
Like, I don't even know.
World War I and II.
Oh, you have to write essays.
3. ladies and gentlemen, tell me what was the time span that the Japanese were closed? Good. What do you got, Catherine?
1600 to 1853.
There you go, 1600 to 1853. On your whiteboard, please tell me what raw material will be the largest export coming out of India and Egypt? Joseph. Cotton. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the what country is going to partially industrialize because of a guy named Muhammad Ali? Good. What do you got, James? Egypt. On your whiteboard, please tell me what country is going to industrialize because of foreign investment? They're one of the very few that has foreign investment at this stage. Good. What do you got, Izzy? Japan. On your whiteboard, please tell me what two countries are the most financially invested in Japan's industrialization? Good. What do you got, Cassidy?
US and England.
U.S. and England. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is what are the two what are the two empires that are going to reject industrialization outright? Good. What do you got, Scott? The Qing and the Ottoman. On your whiteboard, please tell me why does America want Japan open? Good. Why? Micah. There you go. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is. Nope, that's good. All right. And Japanese industrial. Nope, I don't want to talk about that anymore. All right, technology, ladies and gentlemen. How much time do I have?
8 minutes, 9 minutes.
Okay, let's do this. Here we go. Technology. You're gonna put a big star. Look at map for week 12. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to skim through some of this because we already did stuff on this. Yes, remember? So, I'm not going to, bang myself over the head running it twice. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest thing you need to know is the first type of fuel for the Industrial Revolution is coal. So, when we talk about coal, it is only seen in it's at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. It burns hotter and faster. That's why you need to know it. And it's perfect for steam engines. And what is the most commonly used machine in the early industrial age? Steam engines. There we go, guys. Way to put it together. Okay, so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, coal is going to be the most important fuel. For the second industrial revolution, the most important fuel source is
Petroleum?
oil. We're just going to do oil. We're going to do oil. So for the second industrial revolution, there's a new wave of fuel, and it is oil. Now, just listen. There are two types of oils. There's unrefined oil and refined oil. Unrefined oil is that black, tarry looking stuff, and it cannot be processed in what we would put in machines. So, when the unrefined oil originally gets used, it's super black smoke, really smoky, absolutely disgusting, atrocious, and it smells horrible. Refined oil is what we're going to be using in more specific machines like automobiles and stuff like that. In refined oil, we are pulling out motor oil. You should write this down. In refined oil, you are pulling out motor oil, which is stable. What does that mean? It's stable. Oh, God, guys. Olivia. It won't explode. You can go into a store right now and pick up a thing of motor oil off the shelf in Walmart and no one's concerned about it. Yes? Because it's not going to blow up. Now, if you take a match and you hold it against the bottle and burn through the plastic of it, what's gonna happen? It's gonna light on fire. It's not gonna explode, it's just gonna light on fire. Okay, same thing you would do with like any other like cooking oil and stuff like that. Okay, so you have your refined oil, and then you have a motor oil, and then you have gasoline. Gasoline is part of that refinement. Have you heard of a refinery for gas? Yes, that's where oil refineries and stuff like that, that's where they separate your motor oil and your gas. And your gas is going to be a combustible, which means it can explode at any moment. People still die all around the world from gasoline because it is so dangerous. Because a slight flame, like you've been to a gas station, that shit gets wild. People are wackadoodles. Have you ever seen someone smoking at a gas station before? Yeah, y'all can die. Like, that's how crazy it is. People are idiots. But yeah, it's super combustible, which means just a slight touch of the flame, that whole thing can blow up real big. And it still happens all around the world. People die in hundreds of thousands every single year because they explode in gasoline. Mostly it's people who are like in places like India and Africa who are carrying gas on them on a motorbike. Does that make sense? The motorbike crashes or they hit something else and there's a spark and then bye-bye. So that whole thing, it's combustible. Because it's highly combustible, it is used in precision machines like combustible engines. Oh my God, that's the next evolution. So the first evolution of machines, of engines, is your steam engine. Your second evolution is the combustible engine, which is using gas. So we have steam, which is powered by coal. Then we have a combustible engine, which is used by gas, which is going to pump the pistons much faster and can be smaller capacity. Are you impressed by how all my mechanical knowledge? You were at the top of it, so don't ask me any questions. Okay, so your combustible information. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Second agricultural revolution. That's your next subheading. So, your second your second industrial revolution. Okay, you need to know it's powered by oil and gasoline. Okay, so we're all about the fossil fuels. We left coal and now we're on to oil and gasoline. You need to know it is going to, you need to know the Bessemer process is going to create faster, cheaper steel, which is right here. It's a huge production. Okay, so you need to know Bessemer, which is in your notes, which I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's going to make steel. Steel allows for trains, cars, planes, high rises. So everything that marks a modern day society is only can be accomplished by steel. The third thing you need to know is electricity. Okay, Thomas Edison, the light bulb and all that crap, yes? Okay, that is going to be part of the second industrial revolution. America is really going to spearhead the electricity, by the way. We're really the ones behind that one. We're also really the ones behind the combustible engine too, but we're really behind the electricity with Thomas Edison. Does anyone know what is the first structure that is fully electric in the world? Flagler College was a hotel, Ponce de Leon, and it was the first fully electric hotel or structure in the world. Thomas Edison did the wiring himself. Isn't that wild? How weird. It was a hotel for the ultra wealthy. And there you go. So you already know your railroads? Oh, okay. So you do need to know the telegraph machine. Telegraph send telegrams, got it. Good. So telegram machine is going to make communication easier and allow colonial powers more control. So there are lots of talk that if the American Revolution happened during the age of the telegram, that there would have not been an American Revolution. The reason why we won is because we created chaos and made it very expensive. Okay? If they had the telegram, the British, it would have been much more organized on their part and they would have squashed us very quickly. It allows for colonies to have more control. I'm just going to say, I